God, thank you for the chance to gather tonight as a community to talk about important issues that regard our town. Give us wisdom, give us an ability to listen well, and Father, let us make good decisions tonight. Thank you for the nation tonight. In Christ's name, I pray. Amen.
And Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. I'll call the meeting to order. And we start off our meetings with public comments. And thank you. Let's see, Dottie Bedell, please come up. Everybody has got 3 minutes at the podium. Say your name and address. And there you go.
Hi, y'all. How are you?
Good.
It's good to see everybody. So my name is Dottie Bedell, and I live on Mill Grove Road in unincorporated Union County. Most of you know me already through my emails. I've sent emails to most of you. A lot of them are unanswered. I trust all of them are on file as part of the public record. For my 3 minutes tonight, I would like to highlight findings from the Stallings year-end report and also share the Mill Grove community's strong opposition to annexing land off of Mill Grove Road for a Coulter Homes subdivision. So your report confirms that after the sewer capacity study was done in April, that nothing was discovered that would be cost positive. So you directed your staff or the council to continue to monitor and explore partnership opportunities that might be viable for private sewage systems. We disagree with this in Mill Grove simply because of what's happening with the Coulter Homes issue and the annexation. As a side note, I do want to mention that the Country Woods East subdivision is having major private sewage issues. I think all of you are aware of that. And if they're having trouble, I don't know why you would want to even introduce anything new based on that. So basically, private sewer effectively opens the door for dense development in areas like Mill Grove, and when these systems fail, it creates big messes for people like us. Also, your own planning documents say that higher density housing should be concentrated in the town center, and you've all agreed to that. And one of the reasons is because your sewer is there, your trash is there, your police is there. It's not out in Mill Grove. Third, your report also admits that Stallings been out of compliance with basic MS4 stormwater permits because you didn't even know where your ponds, your pipes, and your drains were. And if your team is on the struggle bus to keep track of this stuff right now, how do you think you can keep track of a private sewage system for 2,000 people flushing every day in Mill Grove with drip fields on cornfields? Which it's just mind-boggling that you even think that that would be good. I do believe that most of you don't think it's a good idea to incorporate private sewage systems in this area right now. And I do, talking to Brad and talking to you, I do believe that both of you understand the weight of private sewage systems. Because you can't even maintain the one in Country Woods East. You're unwilling to. You're, sending letters to the governor, who apparently has still not answered an April 4th letter. So, I just want to close by saying that the density belongs in the town center, exactly where you're saying that it does belong because of the support that's there. It does not belong in Mill Grove. So based on your 24-25 report and based on what you're talking about with the Coulter and the annexation, I would say that you would stick to the town center. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, you need to put that on speakerphone, please. We'll all answer.
Silent?
All right, next up, Melanie Miller. Hello.
Hello, good evening. My name's Melanie Miller. My address is 615 Ann Avenue in Waxhaw. The reason I'm here tonight, I am here as the Executive Director of the Union County Community Arts Council, and our mission is to cultivate and celebrate the arts so that everyone in our community has the opportunity to experience those benefits. October, surprisingly, I think is, 9 days away? And October is National Arts and Humanities Month, which is a time that we recognize how the arts strengthen our community and improve quality of life. And I'd really just like to say that the arts aren't something that's extra. They are really essential to our local economy and education system. Here in North Carolina, the nonprofit arts and culture industry generates over $2 billion in economic activity each year, supporting nearly 38,000 full-time jobs in North Carolina and returning over $439 million in tax revenue to both localities, the state, and federal governments. And when you combine the for-profit arts and culture organizations and businesses, our industry contributes over $22 billion in economic activity just here in North Carolina. It's actually larger than both the transportation sector and the utility sector. And so here locally, in the Arts Council, we invest in arts education. We bring professional artists into classrooms right here through UCPS. We also conduct the largest and the longest running student art show here in the county. And we infuse about $20,000 directly into the hands of UCPS arts teachers each year. We have a program called the Arts in Bloom Educator Grant. And so this enables teachers to apply to do projects and different things that wouldn't otherwise be funded through the school system. And all of these activities impact thousands of kids right here in our county that help them build confidence and critical thinking and increase their collaboration. And young folks who are engaged in the arts, they are 5 times more likely to graduate from high school, and they're also twice as likely to graduate from college. And so these outcomes benefit all of our families and all of our employers here in Union County. Creative and arts-related jobs in North Carolina are associated with increased visitor spending, retention, and attraction of residents, and rising household incomes. And closer to home, so you guys just had your 50th celebration, bringing the community together. So these activities, whether that's music in the park, a veterans art exhibit, the student showcase, they really help create that place of pride and memories that really strengthen our civic fabric. So I would just encourage you that as you make decisions that shape the future of our towns and county, encourage you to see that the arts are not a luxury, but they're a powerful investment in both the economic and education parts of our community as well as well-being. So we are proud to partner with different municipalities, the schools, performing arts organizations, local artists and business to ensure that all parts of our county have access to the power of the arts. So again, as we enter into October, which is National Arts and Humanities Month, just wanted to thank you all for supporting policies and partnerships that keep the arts alive here in Union County. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Whoops.
That's all that is signed up for public comments, but if there's anyone else in the audience that might have forgotten or didn't see that, is there anyone else that wishes to speak on an issue? Now's your chance. Okay. Report from Parks and Rec on our next agenda item.
Good afternoon, Council. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update about the Veterans Breakfast. We are about to go live with that and start promoting, but we've decided that we are going to put a minimum on that for 10 veterans, and we did decide at the last council meeting to accept +1, so that's 20 people, and that'll be the minimum. And then we're going to move forward with options of what the funding looks like, if we can get a sponsor, how the food works, because I'd hate to put on this Veterans Breakfast and only have 2 people. So we've reached out to Mint Hill. They do a Veterans Breakfast, but open it to all residents. And we've actually been able to pull some Stallings residents from that list. However, if y'all know of any veterans, please send them our way. We'd love to get the information out as much as possible. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up because we're going to really start pushing that forward on social media, reaching out to HOAs, and maybe walking even to local businesses and just getting some flyers out. So if you guys have any ideas or know of anybody, if anyone's in the crowd is a veteran and lives in Stallings, come find me. We just really want to make sure we reach the right amount of people, especially with the first year that we're doing this.
What's the location?
I believe here is going to be the best option for the first year as we just kind of cultivate an audience and then kind of move forward with, if we don't want to host it here, if it gets too big, start looking at local restaurants. I think Fat Daddy's was a great option, but just with the shorter turnaround, being able to do it in-house was a little bit easier for our department.
That's good.
Yeah, and just as a refresher, it is going to be on Veterans Day. So, and I believe that is November 11th, and it is a Tuesday. Any questions? All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you, Eunice. Agenda approval. We're going to do agenda approval, and then part of that will be, we need to pull the consent agenda item U4714AC off this month, and it'll come back when staff has got, something changed, it needs to come off. So that's the one change, that'll come off. Any other changes for the agenda today?
Remove item number 6, right?
Okay. Any other changes?
David, Mayor Pro Tem, I make a motion to approve the agenda with the following adjustments: remove the consent agenda item and remove item number 6 with regards 2725 Old Monroe Road use. We'll defer that until another meeting when the mayor can join us.
All right.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, thank you. Moving along. Brig or Bridge? I'm sorry. My daughter's, she spells it BRDGE. All right, Bridge. Stallings Church rezoning.
Yes.
Open a public hearing. And then you're up.
She actually had her name changed to Bridge when she joined it.
It'd be easier for me to remember it, but because I get confused.
Hello, Council. My name is Bridge. I'm a planning tech, or GIS planning tech upstairs. If you haven't already met me, I feel like I've met almost everyone now. I will be presenting our general rezoning for RZ 250601. Stallings Church has submitted a general rezoning, has submitted a general rezoning request for 2 parcels, one of which is single-family residential 3, the other is industrial. They're proposing a change to civic for both parcels. We had a community meeting on the 4th of August, a planning board on the 19th of August, and our town council meeting today. The 2 parcels are located along Stallings Road, right next to the Stallings Church, which is that parcel right here. They are owned by Stallings Church. As I said, they are single-family residential 3 and industrial. Both parcels are now vacant. There was a single-family residence on the orange parcel circled here, but it has been demolished. And again, the site is 2.944 acres. This is the aerial and street view. Again, this single-family residence has been demolished. A little history about the 2 parcels. In 2018, we adopted a new development ordinance which rezoned the properties from general retail and R10, which is a residential district, to industrial and single-family residential 3. And the 2 parcels have been owned by Stallings Church since 1994. The future land use identifies these parcels as suburban commercial center. And the small area plan for this area is town center, which has them both as mixed use and workplace. Staff recommends approval of RZ 250601 to rezone the property to civic. The rezoning will make the properties consistent with the current use and bring consistency to parcels owned by Stallings Church. And there you go. Any questions?
Could have swore somebody said that the reason why they were doing this was they were going to build like a family life center, but
They don't currently have any.
yeah, Max said that, but I could have swore somewhere along the way somebody said that's what they were doing.
Does that matter to you, though?
No, it doesn't. It was just,
They don't currently have any plans for both parcels. Yes. In the back portion. They just have a small prayer garden. There's a small prayer garden along the rear part of the parcels. That's the only use that they have on for currently.
Are there any speakers that want to speak to this issue today? This is a public hearing.
The applicants are here if you have any questions for them.
If nobody wants, from the public wants to speak, I'll close the public hearing, and then the developer can ask, or the church can answer questions if there are any. Close the public hearing. And questions, staff, council?
I'll ask
discussion?
them, is that kind of what the idea is?
Would you like to come up?
Oh, they already said no?
They said no.
Oh, they said no. Okay, never mind, never mind. Oh, you're not planning to build anything else?
No, we have no immediate plans
Okay.
for the property. We took down the house because the house was in very poor condition. There was a mold issue underneath the house, and it was just to the point where we wouldn't be able to bring it back up to a standard where someone could live in that house.
Gotcha. All right, appreciate it, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, because their pastor officiated the ceremony of my mother, who was a widow for 10 years, a few months ago, to be remarried, I'd like to make the motion. May I?
Of course.
I'll make the motion to approve RZ 25.06.01.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's unanimous.
I'd also make a motion to approve the statement of consistency and reasonableness. Would you back up one, Aaron, if you don't mind, or Bridge, who was driving that? I think it was a smaller, back up one slide. At the very bottom, I think I could read that
Oh,
easier.
sorry.
Yeah. We find that this is it inconsistent but reasonable with the comprehensive land use, right?
Yes.
Because the civic is consistent with the current use of the property and property owners. That's the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Again, unanimous.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, good presentation, and thank you, church. All right, next up, Max. And this one is not a public hearing. It was open and closed last meeting, and this is a continuation.
Thank you, council. Okay. So this is conditional zoning CZ 250202 for Cottage Green. HMF Americana is the developer, and they're requesting a conditional rezoning to CZMU2 for 222 mixed residential gated community with up to 30,000 square feet of commercial. This is the site plan. It hasn't changed since you last seen it. There was a public hearing on June 9th. At that meeting, the council deferred the item because the TIA, the traffic impact analysis, had not yet been approved by NCDOT or town staff. The TIA has been since approved by NCDOT and town staff, and it was approved on August 29th. Another concern that we had from council was a request for stronger standards of timing for the commercial versus the residential component, and staff has requested additional conditions as well. And the developer responded with revised commitments. Staff has reviewed those, and we will support the changes that the developer has made.
Can you tell us what exactly were the changes?
Yeah, I'm gonna go, I'll skip over the traffic improvements. None of the traffic improvements have changed since the last meeting. They were just approved. There are notable revisions from the developer. Actually, I'll just go to the revised commitments. So I had 2 slides of commitments. I'll just put exactly what they're committing to. So they're revising up to 10,000, they're gonna build 10,000 square feet of commercial on the commercial A1 site. There's 2 A1 and A1 and A2. By the 112th CO, it will be complete. CO is the certificate of occupancy, and that is given out by Union County for someone to live in that building. Which means that the commercial space will be delivered earlier, so by half of the development. which is an increase from 7,500 square feet of original commitment, which is an accelerated timeline versus the original plan. So just, the developer will also fund a Welcome to Stallings sign at the town, no cost to the town. And they also agreed to remove the building size cap, square footage cap on the commercial component. I would say there was many additional notable revisions. So they're including the traffic impact analysis in the plans. They're adding a 4-foot berm along the southern boundary near Rose Hill. And they're also incorporating standards for a water tank in the conditional zoning standards. So I'm gonna skip back. So staff recommends approval of conditional zoning CZ 250202 with the developer's revised commitments to the development standards. This is based on an alignment with the comprehensive land use plan of walkable activity center future land use, a combination of commercial and residential uses consistent with the adopted small area plan for Chestnut, and inclusion of the Greenway master plan, the Greenway from the Greenway master plan. Yep. Any questions for me?
Yeah.
I'll lead.
I think, no, I think you're going to ask the same question, so go ahead.
Probably not. The clarification on the water tank, is that the condition, they will make room for one potentially, or is it that they will actually put one in?
They're identifying room for one. The site plan has not been updated for the location. But they have plans, there's no standards for water tanks in our ordinance. So they wanted to make sure that they had development standards incorporated in the conditional zoning.
So there's a chance that there's no actual requirement that they put in a water tank? Because I know that's been a concern with the water pressure, the impact on it.
Yeah, so I don't know if exactly, let me read the exact conditions. It's like a whole page long, so I can't remember exactly the specific commitment. It is a permit, it's not a requirement, but it is permitted. It seems like when I read this. Oh, well, the developer nodded, they said they are going to do it, the water tank.
I mean, okay, I would.
I
just want that to be a
would say
condition.
any additional questions,
Okay.
I'm gonna refer to them on the water tank.
So I think you just said it, so you'd like that to be a condition. And I
Yeah,
think
that's
they
the only
said they would
condition I think.
do
we
They
would
it.
are
add.
required to do so,
Yeah.
they will build it. Okay. Is that, would you like to come and speak on that? Is that okay if the developer comes up and
Yeah, yeah.
references it?
Yeah, I'm John Carmichael, thank you. That will be clear, and we'll, happy to make that a condition, subject to the approval of all the governmental authorities, meaning the county, but that they want to do the water tank, they're committed to doing it, and they'll make it a condition, just subject to the approval of all applicable governmental authorities. They got to get a permit, but yes, they're going to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, John, and that's to bring the water pressure up out there?
Well, so there was no issue from, in terms from the government about the water supply, the water pressure, but there were concerns expressed at the public hearing, and then Tim Crawford with HMF Americana wanted to make sure that this development had sufficient water pressure from his perspective, and that there would be no change in water pressure on surrounding parcels after this site is developed. So that was something he pursued voluntarily. Gotcha. Councilmember Ayers.
Thank you.
And just to reiterate, sewer is going to Mecklenburg. Yes, sir. There's no chance it's coming, or you're waiting on the Union County. Say your name and confirm that.
Yeah, Craig Berwick, sewer is going to Mech.
All right. Thank you.
You put him on the record, I guess. That's good.
How do you plan on screening that 35-foot tall water pump?
It would be screened along the base with evergreen trees and shrubs or a fence and a wall. So there would not be trees 35 feet tall.
I didn't think
I don't
so.
want to mislead you, but yes, there's a requirement to provide screening at the base.
Have you seen that plan, Max?
It's specifically laid out in condition 14C for the screening. And they have not incorporated that on the plan.
Okay.
But they will be reviewed during site plan review.
And there's a commitment that it will not be located in Development Area C, which is the northern commercial pod along Matthews Weddington Road, but it could be located anywhere on the site. And then there are 2 potential locations shown on the site plan. And each of those locations could be in a buffer area, but if it was in a buffer area, there'd be enhanced screening. But that location will be determined in the event the rezoning is approved during the permitting process. But it can't be on Development Area C.
Can you show me on the map? I don't remember seeing the berm.
That's new.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So,
It's shown on our plan, but it's basically here. Can you see the cursor?
Yeah.
It's a 4-foot berm with type A landscaping on top. The developer met with residents along the southern boundary, and they requested that berm.
So how long is it going, that berm going to be?
The length? Craig, you have an estimate?
Yeah, I think it was close to 400 feet long, so it would go down towards that creek on the right, and then all the way to the second house on the left. That you can see. Really from this point to around here.
And I can speak briefly to that if you don't mind. There, for the council's this has been a long time since we revisited or visited this. So there are 2 property owners at the end of Rose Hill Lane. I forget one, but I forget their last names, but I met with one of them at their home. They're Weddington residents, and I think one of the issues was proximity of this Stallings parcel to a Weddington jurisdiction. So they requested a berm if the development, they're not in favor of the development, to be clear, but they requested some screening if it were approved, and I think the developer accommodated that in their plans.
Any discussion with council?
I've got some thoughts, if I may.
Yes.
And it may generate some more questions. So this is my district. I live in the area, so I felt a little bit more closeness to this than maybe other rezonings. Initially, I think the main concern everybody remembers was sort of traffic generation, particularly when this sits beside another not dissimilar use, the Solis, which is now Chestnut Farms apartment complex. And if you recall, and I won't repeat them, we spent some time at the June the 9th public hearing talking about traffic counts, traffic numbers, and I think at least where I landed was this very important statement is that the planned, required, and helpful intersection and road improvements are a net positive for this part of town, particularly a right turn lane from Weddington Matthews onto Antioch Church Road, 250 feet of new storage. What we see in our community is really critical crunch of traffic during school hours. There are 3 schools that surround this property: Antioch Elementary, Socrates Academy, and Union Day. Outside of that 1 hour in the morning, maybe 2 hours in the evening, it's a thoroughfare such that we have petitioned successfully to lower the speed limit from 45 to 35 through this area. I think we validated through some traffic counts that we did ourselves that the traffic impact analysis that they proposed, which at first sounded low, number of trips per day, I'm reasonably confident that's a fair number now. So I'll stand by my statement. The improvements that we expect on the roads, which would never come otherwise, remember the state's budget situation, are a net positive. I'll also add a new lane of traffic between the roundabout and Antioch Church Road. I think that was always there, but that was required by NCDOT. And some adjustments to the Chestnut roundabout. So I feel confident that the traffic in the area is not going to get better. We're going to be crunched by the interstate opening at 485 later this year, but McKee Road extension, Potter Pleasant Plains improvements, as well as the Monroe Road, there'll be other ways to get to 485. So there'll be There'll be no traffic relief in the area. I would just posit that this development and their improvements are going to be an overall help, particularly for the afternoon rush, people trying to turn right onto Antioch Church Road. The second thing I'll say is one thing I'm most pleased about is the greenway connection that will continue all the way down the front of the commercial. It doesn't look like it from the map, but it's an enormous piece of land, an enormous span of road frontage that will eventually have some commercial. We've limited them to 30,000 square feet of retail. In the area, there's existing 20,000 square feet at Mario's and a couple other out parcels. That number, 30,000, feels about right to me, given the amount of frontage. I'm also pleased that our staff and the developer agreed on something unusual, I think, for this developer was to build and own, at least own the building, so to speak, of a third of that commercial from the outset. And there's some timing in place that I think they both agree to and I'm pleased with. So I think what we've eliminated is the possibility that we'll have a residential development with vacant out parcels for decades. We've been approached by some other developers who are now seeing land in the area as a result of this property and the interchange, showing some interest in sort of completing what our small area plan calls for, which is slower speeds, more sidewalks, crossings of the road, and commercial. The gas station owner directly across met with him last Friday. He's hoping to plan some improvements there as well in the future. I probably said too much, but you can kind of get from the tone, I think, that I'm in support of this project. It's a lot less of an intensive use than what was proposed about 14 years ago that carried along with it vested rights. You'll remember that was a Harris Teeter grocery store, 100,000 square feet of retail without parcels, and 75 townhomes in the back. This is much less intensive, and it builds a community a little bit better than we had on the table beforehand. I'll conclude my comments with that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Comments?
Fred, you talked me into it. You talked me into
Well,
it.
well, thanks. Lori and I, we did have may I share a little bit of the conversation just about how much retail and how much, retail may not be the right word, but commercial. This is, 30,000 is a great number for this area, and their commitment to build a third of that from the outset, I think, is very helpful to our town vision. They've also, by the way, preserved at our request, council, you can't see it on the map, and we'll point to it later, but the ability to take that very northern parcel, the parcel that has no development on it, and potentially connect it to the apartment complex and their vacant commercial parcel. I appreciate that concession to allow that road right-of-way to potentially be connected in the future and not do anything to preclude that ever happening. But thank you. Yeah.
What's the pleasure of the council?
I make a motion to approve the rezoning number. Yeah, CZ 25.02.02, finding that it is consistent with and reasonable with the goals of the comprehensive land use plan, as approved by the planning board and staff recommended.
All right, I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all. Statement of consistency and reasonableness.
I kind of did that, did I not? Did I include that? I included
You did?
that.
Oh, good. I didn't know we could.
you did?
I try to be more efficient, yeah.
I'll show it, just in case.
I like that.
Here, it's up.
All right. Congratulations.
Oh, that's the old one.
Ready, Alex?
Yes, sir, I am.
Balanced scorecard report, next up on the agenda.
All right. Good evening, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Alex Sewell. I'm the Stallings Town Manager. Each year, we do a balanced scorecard. It's kind of like a bunch of things combined into one, a strategic plan, a report card, an organizational tool, a performance measurement tool, all into one. Why do we do it? Well, because local government can be messy in all the best ways, right? It can be messy in the sense that democracy is messy. Because it's important to let everyone come to the table just like this, be part of conversations. And while that's a good thing, it can make it a challenge to stay organized and to get things done. If you think about it, you've got 7 elected officials, numerous appointed boards, appointed officials, a town manager, town attorney, citizens, a variety of community partners, both in town and outside of town, all with different opinions. So on top of that, you've got plans, different thoughts, and so the balanced scorecard takes all that, mission, vision statements, council top priorities that we do every year, department level priorities, and frontline performance measures, and it packages it all together in one document. And it puts the resources and the organizational focus behind the things that we want to achieve. So, as I mentioned before, and in essence, it's a performance measurement tool, but in the sense, it's also not a tool to assign blame. It's a tool to spark conversations, because the balanced scorecard isn't the most important part. It's the conversations that it spark. Are we pursuing the right measures? Are we doing the right things? That kind of thing. So it's a tool for collaboration. It empowers, of course, the board. You're the most powerful group in the town, right? You're our key leadership and decision makers. But it also powers all the different layers of the organization and gives them a voice as well. So with that being said, I hope that's a good explanation of the balance scorecard, why we do it. You can see here it's a pretty large document. It's 234 pages, not including all the Excel spreadsheets, so it's time consuming. I appreciate all our staff's time and attention to their side of things.
Are
and
you
the
going to
board.
read this into the minutes for us, please?
I would prefer not to, but I did take the over tonight, so happy to if you would like. So to go over all of it would probably take 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. I don't think you'd let me come to the next meeting if we did that. So I'm going to go over just some key highlights, department by department. And if you want to zoom in on anything in particular, please let me know. I'm not going to hit all the measures because, again, we'd be here for a couple nights. But let's get started. And one thing I want you to hear, and you've heard me say, is that Stallings has grown a lot over the years. And as we've grown, you've got to think as an organization, the needs of the community sometimes change, right? As a town gets bigger, the services, even if they don't change, they have to grow with the community they serve. Now, you've got to be careful, and it's a delicate balancing act, because if you grow too fast, you're putting more resources and really straining the town's budget. If you grow too slow, then you've got a service gap for your community. So there's a delicate balance of how you grow to meet the community's needs. Now, no town does it perfectly, but we try to do a good job, and I think over the past few years we've done a pretty good job. So looking at the administrative department, some of the key metrics we've looked at has been creating a Stallings Town Center, and it's very small things to big things. Small things like, let's not call it a downtown, let's call it a town center, right? But it's also looking at the density, trying to concentrate density to support the kind of commercial we want within key parts of the town center. We met our goals for holding park events, try to kind of generate activity in our town center area, and continuing to pursue filling the property the town purchased several years ago with an economic catalyst while recognizing the sewer capacity shortages that are there. We've been able to maintain fiscal strength in a variety of ways, whether it's our budget, fighting inflation, capping CPI increases. We've pursued sewer alternatives. Let's see, we've maintained our 5-year IT replacement budget, emergency preparedness, and improved staff relationships through team building events. What are some of the challenges? Well, one of the things is the number of recordable injuries that we have. This is important from an insurance cost. So the town had 4 recordable injuries. We set, but only missed 1 day of work, so that tells us that was relatively minor. Now, even those are relatively minor, we don't accept that. We want to set a goal each year of 0. We want no injuries every year. Whenever there's an injury, we talk about it, there's a committee. Is there anything we could have done differently? Was this some sort of freak accident, that kind of thing? And then we take action, whether it's changing policy, approach, training, or at the same time, even in some cases, disciplinary action if someone was violating policies. We failed to hold an all-hands-on-deck meeting this year. We did one the year before, but not the past year. That's my fault. It was just we were so busy. It's difficult to schedule with not the 9-to-5 staff, if you will, but a lot of our staff are on different shifts, whether it's working weekends, working nights, police. Getting everybody there is always a challenge. One thing that was an accomplishment and challenge was our turnover rates. So we look at that overall. We look at it non-PD, and then we look at it PD. So overall, we met our turnover goal. We met it with non-PD. PD was a little bit higher than what we met. I think it was just under 11%. We set it at 10%. Nothing alarming. When I dig down deeper, it wasn't anything to be concerned of. I think as a police department, we've done, with the board support, a lot of things. We've got effective leadership in place. We've got, thanks to the board's support, an effective pay plan in place that was just approved, so we know we're competitive. I think what we're seeing in the police department, and have seen, is a situation where historically we weren't paying our frontline officers enough, and what was happening was we were paying the top-level management of the police department, some of the higher-level management, market wages, but the middle was missing. And so what was happening is we were getting police officers, we were training them up, spending a lot of money and resources. 3-4 years in, they realized how much more money they could make at another jurisdiction, and they were going. And so what our pay study that was just implemented found and implemented with the board's support was really focusing, now that we've got a lot of our younger folks to 3 or 4 years of experience, really allowing them to take the next step into that middle management leadership, which is important in every organization, but is incredibly important in policing, because they're the frontline supervision for folks that walk around and are enforcing laws, and in some cases could have the authority to take someone's life, right, and use deadly force. So that's key and incredibly important. So those are some of the key parts of the administrative scorecard. Next is the engineering scorecard, and I apologize, let me pull this up. So I want to commend the board and also our town engineer, Kevin Parker. The engineering department has come a long ways over the past 3 years, I'd say. Again, we're growing as our organization grows and as to meet our community's needs. So things like getting processes in place that are becoming routine, when it comes to road resurfacing, street maintenance, investing more in preventative maintenance to stretch our dollar as far as it'll go, and really kind of building in the systems and processes to do that, including fulfilling permit year 2 requirements of our MS4 permit. And the board has supported hiring new staff. We brought on Miss June, who's going to be our stormwater inspector, and really meeting the goals of our MS4 permit. As far as challenges when it comes to engineering, they're things that I don't think are flashing red beacon signs. They're more things we're going to kind of continue to progress on, right? When it comes to completing a full inventory of our stormwater infrastructure, starting to really crack down on the private stormwater maintenance ponds, getting those all enlisted, and really to continue to grow efficiency gains with the processes that are new and still developing, whether it's street maintenance or anything like that. and also internally building in the policies and procedures that we have when it comes to our land development standards. So those are some of the upcoming goals with engineering. Next is finance. Finance is in a spot that I think engineering was about 3 years ago. We've got an awesome, still relatively new finance officer, and she's identified a whole host of key things that we need to be doing as far as building in financial processes and infrastructure. Again, we're growing from a place where our organization, and especially our finance staff, was everything else was growing but that department, right? And so we looked at that, we benchmarked, we had a conversation, and we've decided to add some additional staff. So we're in the process of going through developing the job descriptions and hiring those. In addition, the board has supported getting new financial software, which will lead to efficiency gains there. So we've continued to meet our fund balance thresholds. Those are some of the accomplishments. We've developed a new fund balance policy with the board's support. Last year, the focus was really on developing and having discussions around the 5-year financial planning and making sure we're making effective staffing and long-term and midterm financial decisions. So really the big thing, again, is building up the capacity, and that's the largest challenge. I think all the metrics that you see failing for the large part are because we don't have the financial or the staffing capacity to do a lot of things that we want to and we need to. At the same time, we're moving in that direction. So that's it with finance. Moving with Parks and Rec. Where they really shine is our events, right, and the maintenance of our parks. We've come so long away in the past few years. Kudos to Eunice and her team. Sponsors, we've seen sponsorship growth, social media engagement, a lot of short-term infrastructure planning when it comes to a variety of different critical repairs, improvements. There was a lot of delayed maintenance in our parks. And I feel like we're just now catching up right now. So we need to continue to kind of build on partnerships, things like that. One of the biggest challenges, I think, that we've seen recently, and this isn't a shock to you all, is our farmers market. The first year it seemed pretty solid, but the vendor demand just wasn't there. It became clear over the course of several years that it wasn't functioning. We've given it a couple go-rounds, first with the county and then with another independent contractor that we work with. And we're not sure that a farmer's market is going to be supported by the market right there, just because there are other farmers markets that are really relatively close. That breaks my heart to have to say that. But at the same time, I think the ultimate goal of the farmers market, right, is to enhance and improve and be an economic catalyst for a town center, to drive activity right here in our town center. And we would like to continue to explore, and the Parks Department to continue to explore, with your support and leadership, what are some potentially alternative things that we could do? Is that a space that we could program out in the morning, especially in the summertime, leverage all the activity we get in the splash pads? There are a lot of parents there standing around while their kids are in the splash pad. Is there some way we can engage them? So let's see. Those are some of the big ones with parks. Planning department, again, another department that have come a long way, and we've seen kind of grow to kind of match the services and the demands that they have on them. We've added key staff and positions. Ms. Bridge, who's up here tonight, is one of those positions that was recently added, and it's already paying dividends. We've approved a town council streetscape plan to try to implement streetscape throughout the town center, make it a part of development standards. when we look and benchmarked with successful downtowns, that one of the things that we found consistently was a streetscape. So it's exciting to see. We've already seen developments that have been approved recently that have that streetscape in there. So that's paying dividends already. The light rail and small area plan study, those updates were done as well. And just really focusing on the town center and the density that we need to get there to support the commercial that is desired. What are some of the challenges? Well, sewer capacity in the county is a challenge, as well as we project capacity issues moving forward. New projects, we've had just an influx of new projects, and because of that, it's taken up a lot of staff times. It seems like it'll slow down eventually with sewer capacity, but it's just not. They're busy. It seems like every week a new project is coming in, and I've been proud of how that team, with Max's leadership, has dealt with it. State legislation, there were some laws around downzoning that are causing issues statewide and has prevented us from implementing the transit overlay for the light rail district in the area around the hospital. So we're still hoping for a legislative fix, but that hasn't come as quickly as we would like. Police, I'm real proud about where they've come. You've heard a little bit about some of the challenges and all the positive steps moving forward. And really, the biggest thing when it comes to policing that we've accomplished from a performance management standpoint has been getting our police department CALIA accredited. That was a 3-4 year process. It is not just something where you just implement a couple policies. It is really intense, and we had to commit 100% to do it. The board was fully supportive of it. And now we are operating based on the CALIA best practices that are identified as a national standard. They met a lot of their community meetings and events and engagement, whether it's the Coffee with the Cop programs. I've seen several of you at those. Attempting to utilize new local businesses with that. Engaging with Stallings Elementary. We have a great relationship with the elementary school over there, a fishing derby, a number of different things that we've done there. I won't go into all the great things they've done. What are some of the great things we're still working on? Well, we set up a new voluntary fitness program, and we set a goal of, I believe, 60-70% of having officers voluntarily participate in that, and we only got 56%, so we'll try to improve that next year. But of the ones that participated, 86% passed the fitness challenge, which is great news. And we weren't able, due to staffing, to become a permanent car seat checking station, but we hope to do that in the future. So that was a quick run through. I know it seemed perhaps disorienting. I gave you a lot of information, but we'll be posting this online if anybody has questions, concerns, and happy to answer any questions or to just bow out gracefully, express my gratitude for you, for everyone that worked on this, our staff for putting up with me as we work through this, and sit down gracefully. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Alex. Appreciate all the hard work you've done to put this together and keeping us on track. Any comments from council on that? That brings us up to the next item on the agenda, adjournment. We have a motion.
Well, I'm going to keep asking questions for 6 more minutes. What are you talking about?
You might go over.
I took the over tonight.
I did too.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all for coming out tonight.